Hello and welcome to Vuelogs Crosscheck Podcast. Today we have a guest that I have been looking forward to for a very long time, and I'm pretty sure that most of you all have been waiting for this guest as well. I'm so excited, so please get your cocktails. Pause the video here, get a cocktail from your kitchen, come back, and let's enjoy this podcast here with SOPLANE.
Hello, my little winglets, and welcome to this new SOPLANE trip report.
Known for his funky trip reports, Nick, also known as SOPLANE, reviews food and lavatories at 30,000 feet. Nick must have tried every single dish and plane toilet out there. In the short 6 years he's been on YouTube now, Nick has gained nearly 6,000 subscribers and over 1 million views. Welcome to Vuelogs Crosscheck Podcast. SOPLANE. Hello, Nick. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Robin. Oh my God, that's really embarrassing. I'm blushing as well. Thanks for having me on this.
Yeah, actually, it's time to crack a beer then, eh? I mean, just before the podcast, you tweeted something about an airport. Just pretend like you're at an airport.
Exactly. I was having a drink, and you were like, "Oh no, it's too early where I am." And I said, "Oh, just pretend you're in an airport. It's never too early to drink at an airport." And very classy in a mug. That's
cheers.
Cheers.
It's only like 10:30 here in the morning.
It's 5:30 here, so pina colada time. The weather has been atrocious here in Glasgow. It's been like bucketing it down. We had like thunderstorms and lightning yesterday, and it's been raining today. And I thought, oh, pina colada, why not? I can't go on holiday, at least I can pretend to be on holiday.
So in Glasgow, how is the situation there right now?
Well, we're still in lockdown. England has eased the restrictions, but in Scotland, we are a couple of weeks behind England. So we are still in lockdown. Everything is shut still. Shops are shut. Restaurants are shut. And we are not supposed to move beyond 5 miles from our houses. So I have not really left my house since the 26th of February. So February, March, April, May, June. That's 4 months. Is it June?
It's the 27th of June.
It's June, yes. I was thinking, is it July now? No, it's June. So that's 4 months I've been at home and haven't really moved beyond my neighborhood here. Everything's getting delivered. Food's getting delivered. Groceries getting delivered. We take the dog out once a day, and that's about it.
Is it just like in England where you, like before they eased the lockdown restrictions, that you can be outside for about an hour a day?
Actually, I think since a week or two, you can now go out as long as you want, as long as you observe the social distancing. So we're now allowed to meet up with friends in parks and also the garden, as long as they don't come into the house. Yes, as long as they don't come into the house. The next phase, which I think starts in like maybe a week or two, they'll be able to actually come into the house to go to the toilet if they have to. Oh, maybe it started already. I'm getting so confused. Like every day things change. And but yeah, you're allowed to meet friends in the garden. So I've had my friends around sitting outside. They brought their camping chairs, their own coffee, their own cakes and everything, sat outside. And I've got friends that have very small bladders. And we were like, just remember when you come, make sure you don't drink too much and go to the loo before you actually come here. But in the next phase, they'll be able to come into the house and use the loo if they need to. So that's where we are just now.
But it's very responsible of you that you've been abiding the regulations so strictly after 4 months. I can imagine it.
Yeah, we've been following it to the T and then more, because my husband, he's got asthma. So right from the outset, we were like pulling the brakes and just make sure that we are, keeping away from everyone. We actually we were in Japan in February. So we came back as it was just kicking off in Japan. And we got back to Glasgow, and friends and family here were like, "Oh, you've been to Japan? You've been to Hokkaido? Can you stay at home for a little bit before we see you?" So we were in the airport in Frankfurt on the 26th of February. We were supposed to babysit that weekend my husband's nephews. Well, mine as well, since we're married. I think that was a Wednesday or so. We were supposed to look after them Saturday, Sunday. And my brother-in-law was like, we found somebody else to look after the kids. So we thought, okay, we'll just stay at home for 2 weeks, self-isolate. And just as we finished our 2-week self-isolation, it started over here. So we went from our self-isolation into quarantine, and now it's 4 months later. And
because
here we are. Yeah.
I remember from back in February that you were, I think, the first one who actually did self-isolate because of a trip. Long before it even became mandatory. Did you really notice that stigma?
Well, it was just our friends and family, because we were in Hokkaido, and the outbreak in Japan was in Sapporo. They had the big outbreak was in Sapporo. We weren't actually in Sapporo, but just having been in Japan and Hokkaido, and people were being funny, we're like, you know what, just suck it out. We'll just do this. We stayed home. We worked from home anyway, the two of us. So it was fine, and we've actually been doing fine because we're not very social people. As you might have noticed in my videos, I don't like people. So we've been fine actually at home for these 4 months. Our friends, the few that we have, actually said we've been preparing for this for a very long time by just not being very sociable and staying at home anyway. So it's been good.
It's the introvert's dream currently.
Exactly. So we've been totally fine, just keeping each other company in our house. And we've got a garden, so we were very lucky. I can only imagine what it was like to, being locked down and being shackled up in an apartment. We've got a garden in the back I'm looking at just now. And we've got a nice vegetable patch. Before the quarantine officially started here, we did go to the garden center because we were like, quarantine is coming. Let's go and get some seed potatoes. And we planted the potatoes. And we had our potatoes from our garden for the first time last week.
Look at
so we've got potatoes. We've got potatoes, we've got spinach, we've got radishes, and we've got courgettes in the front garden as well. So quarantine, COVID has brought out the gardener in me. Never knew that I had that side to me. And who knows, maybe I'll start a channel, So Garden. I don't know. They're all menstruatable. Well, yeah. So.
Oh man, so many questions are coming up right now. But so you mentioned Japan. You seem to be going to Japan quite often. What is it that draws you to Japan so like?
Oh, it's just everything. Just I love the people. I love the food. Just the culture. I grew up watching Super Sentai, which is the original Power Rangers. The Japanese Power Rangers based on Japanese series, which is called Super Sentai. Mm-hmm. And was obsessed with Japan as a kid and Super Sentai, and Japanese food. Favorite food is Japanese. Well, obviously Austrian food has to be up there because I grew up in Austria and I grew up in schnitzel. And schnitzel is the way. If I had to spend the rest of my life on an island and could only bring, have one dish for the rest of my life, it'd be schnitzel. Hands down. Pork schnitzel. Hands down. Yeah. When I go skiing, when we go to Austria, I would get schnitzel every day. Ski resorts in Australia, you've always got like these nice restaurants scattered all over the skiing area. And every day I would make a point of going to different ones and just try schnitzel in every place and then rating them. And there have been occasions where I would have schnitzel for lunch and for dinner just because it's so good.
I mean, schnitzel is really good. Although I've had a couple bad ones. Like somehow, it's an easy dish. It's a pretty easy dish, I'd say. And
it's an easy dish to get wrong.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. It's there's quite a lot that goes into it. I make a pretty good schnitzel. It's perfect party food, especially in Scotland because it's fried and Scottish people love fried food. It's perfect Eurovision party food. I usually make this like mouth-sized, bite-sized.
Bite-sized.
Yeah, English is not my first language. It happens. Mouth-sized. Yeah. Oh God. Bite-sized schnitzel. They're about this size. And the
chicken nuggets.
No.
So, like the size of a chicken nugget.
Oh yes. Yeah. But no, there's not chicken nuggets. No. Even though chicken nuggets are quite good as well. There's time and place for chicken nuggets as well. Actually, we just had chicken nuggets the other day. They were good. McDonald's has opened up back again in Scotland. Everything is shut. Well, the restaurants are shut, but McDonald's drive-thru is open. And we didn't go on the first day because people are crazy here and they queued, around the block and beyond to go and get the nuggets. But we did go the day after, and after 4 months of no chicken nuggets, it was pretty good.
Here in Canada, the restaurants closed as well, except for the drive-through. Drive-through has been open all this time, but they won't serve you on a bike, and I don't have a car.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
There was somebody in our, no, I'm getting this wrong. That was a video. I was like, there was somebody when we went to McDonald's that was in a box car, but no, that was a video. I've got a really bad memory. And it makes stuff that I dream about and stuff that I see on TV with my real life all the time, and it's which is why I make these videos. That's why I've got SOPLANE, because I cannot remember stuff, and filming it helps me remember these trips. And I watch my videos and laugh at myself quite a lot, which is quite sad. So people, in my Q&A video, people always ask me like, "Oh, what do you watch on YouTube?" And I'm like, watch myself. But it helps me remember stuff. I've got a really, really bad memory, which is also why I've got a whole bunch of notes down here on the floor in front of me. I'm actually sitting on this like gym bouncy ball. So it says it's if you can hear a squeak, that's this ball. But I've got notes in front of me because I had to actually sit down properly and think about stuff because my memory is so bad.
And it's not at all the cocktails, is it?
Oh, see, I already forgot that I got a cocktail here. See?
Actually, it might be almost 11 o'clock, but it still tastes pretty good. So
I made it earlier. Because obviously we only get groceries delivered and we only order stuff in every 2 weeks. So we've got enough groceries for 2 weeks. And you're only allowed to buy so many things at a time. So it's very limited what we've got. I've been seeing all these people on social media posting pictures about all these fancy meals that they're cooking. And I'm like, we've got beans. We've got canned beans, we've got canned tomatoes, and like really simple stuff in the pantry, stuff that lasts. So not really been, not been cooking fancy stuff. We just like, it's like, I was going to say war times, but that's not right to say. But we've been eating really simple stuff for the past 4 months. So anyway, I was thinking, cocktails, what can I do? So we had canned pineapples and coconut milk, because obviously I'm Asian and Thai and have to have coconut milk in the house. Otherwise, my mom would probably,
disown you?
Out the will. Yeah, disown. That's the word, disown. Yes, thank you very much. The other day, I could not think of the word lighthouse. I kept thinking light tower, because in German it's Leuchtturm.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's it called? It's lighthouse. So bad memory.
Actually, I can't come up with the Dutch word for it. Like, I've been speaking so much English lately that I have trouble remembering my Dutch.
I've got the
Vuurtoren, which is fire tower.
Fire tower.
Yes.
Oh, that sounds like something out of Game of Thrones. Fire tower. But yeah, I've got three. I've got Thai, German, and English, and I get mixed up all the time. And my siblings don't have that problem at all. I'm the only one who just, when I speak to my mom in Thai, I'm like, and the same with my dad when I speak German, and he's very disappointed in me because I don't speak German very well anymore. It's quite sad.
You have a very interesting combination there, like Thai, Austrian, and then mixed up with some Glaswegian.
Yeah, Thai, Austrian, Swiss, and Scottish. Yeah, I guess something interesting about me. I'm very boring. And that's what I was worried about this, doing this, because my videos are all about being like cheeky and funny, but people realize it's all fake and I'm really, really boring in real life. It's like, I'm quite dull.
I mean, if you're on YouTube, I think it's quite natural to have some sort of like on-screen different personality.
Yes.
Or would you say that your on-screen personality is very similar to who you are?
Oh, this is a very deep question. I was not prepared for this. This is a really good question. I don't know. I would have to ask my friends, actually. They probably know and tell me. And it's really, I don't know about you, but I find it really embarrassing when, I don't mind strangers watching me, but when friends and family watch you, it makes me cringe. It just thought of it makes me cringe. High school friend of mine, Johannes, I've not seen him since I left high school, which was, I've got my 20-year anniversary this year, leaving high school. And that was the last time I saw him. And he watches my videos. He comments on my videos. And I'm like, what the heck? And turns out he was like, oh, my mom really likes you. She watches your videos. I'm like thinking, oh my God. She was just thinking that, oh, Nikki, this boy that was friends with my son, how far has he come? He makes videos on YouTube, making a fool of himself. God. Cringe. And my friends here as well, my besties here, they're like, oh, just watch the video. I'm like, oh God, no.
I I mean, have you looked at your stats lately? Like, your total amount of views has surpassed 1 million.
Yeah, but I think it's like, yeah, which is nothing compared to others. No, yeah, it's amazing. I mean, there were videos that did really well. Uh, the one that was the right video at the right time was Norwegian to Providence from Edinburgh when they just started that route. I was in 737, and that was the first video that really shot, the viewer numbers were like that. And
let's watch a quick clip of that, actually.
Look at you, gosh.
Let me share the screen with you, and then well, we can talk about that. Just want to make sure. Can you see the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's watch a couple seconds of that video here. So, who in their right mind would spend 7 hours on a 737-800?
It was an amazing flight. Oh gosh, I'm gutted that I scrapped it because I so wanted to go back and do it again. It was £150 return. It's like absolutely bargain bucket. And at that point, I was still I was still working with my previous company. I've been self-employed since then. Was I? See, bad memory. I think I was still working back then. No, I wasn't actually. I'm talking completely other rubbish. Anyway, I left on Friday and came back on Monday. So it was £150 for a weekend to go over to the States to actually have a good weekend. And because of the time difference, I had a full weekend doing stuff. And the flight there was great because it was supposed to be the max, and Norwegian they're going to put the max on that route, and obviously there were delays at the time, so they didn't get the max in time, so they operated the route with 737-800, and because of weight restrictions, they couldn't fill the plane. And you know what people are like, everybody wants to sit in the front, so the last row was free. So I made sure that I booked my seat in the last row and had the whole row to myself, and it was perfect. I downloaded lots of stuff onto my laptop. I brought my own blanket. I brought my own sandwiches, and because I'm such a cheapskate, I was like, I'm not paying for that stuff. I'm just bringing everything myself. Had my little US Airways blanket, and it was fine. It was a great flight. It was fantastic. It was really comfortable, and passed by in no time. When I spent a lot of time just watching out the window, like I do, and I got to Providence and had such a good time. It was such an amazing place. Absolutely loved it. Stayed at an Airbnb. Made friends with the owner and spent a whole weekend with him. He drove me around, showed me places, went to the beach, had lobster rolls, went out clubbing, and it was a magical weekend. And it would not have been I would never in my wildest dreams would have gone to Providence. Like, no. But because a Norwegian was flying there, I went there, and it was absolutely amazing. It's such an amazing place. It was very vibrant, very young, weird, hip. They've got these like these signs and stickers everywhere. Stay weird, or keep Providence weird. Very like it's very similar to Portland. The vibe that it got in Providence is very much like Portland. So university, it's a big university there and fashion school.
I thought that was Portland's motto. Keep Portland weird. I thought.
Yeah, it's Portland's motto, but they've had something similar in Providence, and it's just a very similar vibe there. And it's that's the thing about these low cost airlines. You can go to places you would never have gone you wouldn't have gone to. And this opens up all these spaces to people. Obviously, Providence, when they were still flying it, was sold as Boston, as a gateway to Boston. And there's people who take this flight that don't even know that they're going to Providence. They just think they're going to Boston, then at the airport getting the bus, and then they go into Boston. And but yeah, I just spent the whole weekend in Providence, and it was fantastic. I was hoping to go back, but then they scrapped the flights, unfortunately.
So when people got on the plane, did you notice some sort of like disappointment from people not understanding that they were going to be spending 7 hours on this small aircraft? Or
no, I don't think so. Plus, I'm not very observant, so I didn't really pay attention to anybody else. No, I don't think so. No, people seem to. Everybody had the pillows and the food with them, and the flight was like full. Like in front of me, the whole thing was full. It was just literally my row at the back that was empty. People seemed happy. There was no I don't think there was anything that seemed odd. It's a shame that they scrapped it. I think it was fantastic. The flights out of Edinburgh to the East Coast.
So back then you already hashtagged this video with laviator. I was just wondering where it's. You're probably the only one that reviews plane toilets, and I already said it in the intro. Where does it come from?
Well, I can't take credit for that because I totally pinched that off someone on Twitter. Somebody used that. I think somebody used it on Twitter. I think I know who it was, but I'm not going to say it because probably it's wrong, and then give credit to the wrong person, and the right person might be annoyed. No, I pinched it off. I saw it on Twitter. Somebody saying laviator, and a lot of the things that I do in my videos that turn into like signature shots or signature moves, whatever you want to call them, that I do in my videos, actually resulted of from like feedback that I got, like people actually commenting on videos where they're like, "Oh, you didn't go to the toilet in a video." I'm like, "Oh, is that a thing?" So I was like, okay, so people obviously look out for that. They want to see that. So that's now laviator. And because I saw that someone using that on Twitter, I was like, okay, that's quite good. Use that, laviator. I assumed that was an actual thing already. I thought that's something people use already anyway. So that's why I just adopted it. And the other thing was the man spreadable. Again, somebody said you did man spread in your last video. I'm like, oh, okay, let's keep doing that then. Also, when I get on the plane, which I never really, it's not something that occurred. I'm not very observant, as I said. I don't pay attention to things that I do, or other people do. I do. I don't. Was when I get on the plane. When I board, I always film my shoes. that actually came from the fact that I don't like filming flight attendants. I don't you hardly ever see any staff in my videos because I don't like doing that. So whenever I board the plane, I just lower the camera, and then obviously it just picks up my shoes. Again, one video I didn't do that, and somebody was like, "You didn't do that when you boarded your plane. Why didn't you do that?" So okay, well that's another thing then. So I've got the tick list now of things I have to do when I make a video. Watching you talking to all the other guys, and everybody seems to have a clear idea of what they want to do when they get on the plane. I don't, because I'm not that organized. But because obviously people have been commenting about things that I do, that's helped me with the structure of my videos now, where it's like, film the shoes when you're bored. So, but start off with getting to the airport, a couple of shots, checking a little bit, plane spotting, and then boarding, obviously shoes, man spreading, and the laviator, and obviously the foot. And that's. So, don't really have an idea what to do, but there's a structure to the videos, but I don't go to the airport with an idea of what I want to do. It's just because also sorry, I keep talking.
No. Carry on. But it's a working concept though.
Yeah. It just it works. Or it doesn't, judging by my viewer numbers. But I would say it's the quality, not the quantity, with my viewers. I've made friends with quite a few people that watch my videos, which is amazing, and that's what I love about YouTube and also social media. You meet all these people that you wouldn't have met otherwise. Wayne, for example, Wayne in Hong Kong, he watched my videos, he commented on my videos, and we got chatting, and we chatted on Twitter. And I've met him twice now. When we pass through Hong Kong, we just meet up with him for a dinner. He always generously invites us for dinner. I'm obviously like, when next time you come to Glasgow, I'll take you out for dinner. So Wayne, if you watch this, come to Glasgow, I'll take you out for dinner. Also one time I went to Dublin to take the Hainan flight from Edinburgh to Dublin on 787 when they were still doing the triangular route, Beijing, Edinburgh, Dublin. Went with Dan, and I just put it on Twitter saying, "Oh, we're going to go on this flight," and then people responded saying, "Oh, if you come to Dublin, let's meet up." So Michael in Dublin and Aoife, we were like, "Oh yeah, we'll pick you up at the airport." So me and Dan got on the plane. Dan I'd only met once before we did this. So basically at the time we were still like complete strangers. Went to Edinburgh. He lives like my way on the west coast of Scotland, and went to Edinburgh, got on a plane, arrived in Dublin, and we get picked up by two strangers. Those two, Aoife and Michael, didn't know each other either. So there's basically four strangers meeting up at the airport in Dublin and then spent a day together plane spotting. How amazing is that?
That's incredible.
I had such a blast. And that's the magic of YouTube and Twitter, that you meet all these people.
Careful that not a lot of people are now sliding into your DM trying to meet up with you.
Well, if they want to invite me to dinner, that's fine. I absolutely love that that side of it. Just meeting all these people through this. So.
Dan, actually, when I announced you on Twitter yesterday, Dan immediately sent me a DM because he wanted to do the photos.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, cool.
We'll get to that later in the podcast.
Oh, God. I'm going to be terrible. Absolutely terrible at that.
So something else actually. Every time I post a picture of a Dash 8 or a video, I know you immediately comment, "What is it with you and the Dash 8?"
There's just this emotional bond. As I said, I grew up in Austria, in Innsbruck. We had a lovely little regional airline called Tyrolean Airways, which you can see right here. I positioned that specifically for this video. That plane doesn't live here. I just put it there for today. And they used to fly Dash 8s out of Innsbruck. And, Innsbruck is, it's in the valley of the mountains on both sides. And I used to live up the mountain in a village on a mountain in Austria, in the Alps.
Sounds amazing.
It does, and it was. Thinking back, I'm like, oh, it was so nice. When I was a kid, being stuck in a village on a mountain was like, get me out of here. But they used to fly over my house. Flights coming in from Germany, the Frankfurt flight, and also Amsterdam, they would come over my village as they were like descending into Innsbruck. And also when they would go skiing, they would actually pass you just basically in front of you. You would be skiing on the same level as the plane, just like, hey, plane's going past you like that. Pretty amazing. And I used to fly the Dash 8 a lot as a kid on Tyrolean because my dad was working in Thailand. I was going to school in Austria, and I would go to Thailand 4 or 5 times a year. And it would either fly from Innsbruck to Frankfurt to connect to Lufthansa or Thai from Frankfurt to Bangkok, or go to Vienna, Innsbruck to Vienna to get on Austrian. Well, not Austrian, back then it was Lauda Air or EVA to Bangkok from Vienna. So I've got this memories from when I was a kid flying Tyrolean. It was such an amazing airline. The crew had summer. Those were the days when they had summer and winter uniforms. I don't know how old you are, but do you remember those days? I don't think you're old enough. I am.
I can't disclose that. I can't disclose that information.
It was amazing those days. They had like summer uniforms, winter uniforms. They were so pretty, like Austrian dirndl, so pretty. And those were the days when you still had a full tray of food on a flight from Innsbruck to Vienna, which takes 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Be a tray with like cold cuts, cold meats, cheeses, and a little semmel, like Austrian roll.
In economy.
Well, there was only one. There was just one
For
class. It was a Dash 8.
Yeah.
And they had 2 flight attendants on a Dash 8. I mean, these days you get these days you're lucky you get 1 flight attendant on a Dash 8. Those days you got 2. Was it even 3? It was 2. And the thing that I loved about the Dash 8, where in the first row you had these 2 seats. Well, the first row was facing backwards.
Dash 8 300?
Yeah. And the flight attendants after takeoff, they would come out with these tables that would slot into the armrests, because obviously, in those days you didn't have the seats with the table and the armrest, so they were all like stored away. So once when you once you get to cruising altitude, the flight attendants come out with like all these fold out tables and just like slot them into the armrests, and then they come out with the trays, and it's just like those memories that I've got of the Dash 8. It's like nostalgic. Such, and it's so the sound of it and the way the landing gears comes out and it opens up and it's just so pretty.
So most important question then obviously is, what is your favorite Dash 8 variant?
Oh, I don't discriminate. Any of them will do.
Makes sense.
I also like the Dash 7, but I also like the Dash 7. Tyroleans used to do Dash 7s as well. Actually, you know what? Turboprops in general. I like all of them.
Actually, my friend Alex has flown on the Dash 7 last year. There's one flying around here in Canada, and I desperately want to try to get on one because they're pretty rare nowadays.
Yeah,
I you have to go to Southern Africa. I think Jep flew one in Africa, and then Alex flew because they got the 4 props.
Where's that? I need to come. Can
Right
you come?
here.
We can go together.
Sure. Once this all
Once it's over.
is blown over, you come here and because there's an air show. I think it's in Abbotsford, which is close to Vancouver, where every year they take out the Dash 7, and then you can take a joyride.
Sorry, it was a chunk of pineapple. It's not. Yeah, I just love turboprops. I mean, the Dash 8 is such a pretty plane. It's just beautiful. Everything about it is beautiful. But in general, I like turboprops. I like planes where I can feel it. I can hear the plane. I can feel the plane, the vibration and all that. Just love it. Which is ironic because I also like the A380 because it's so quiet. But hey,
But then in terms of jets, what is your favorite jet aircraft?
I like the A380. I really do. It's such a in terms of comfort, I think the A380 is such a comfortable flight. It's just effortless. Takeoff, landing, handles turbulences quite well. And it's always such a smooth ride on the A380. I love 747, obviously, because it's a 747. Been lucky enough to fly upstairs quite a few times. And aesthetically, the MD-11.
Oh, yes.
It's just, I've got MD-11, these 10s. I've got my models in there. It's like DC-10s and MD-11s in there. That's such a Japan Airlines, the Japan Airlines livery MD-11. Beautiful.
Do they still fly freighters, or
no? I don't think so. Don't think so. But the old livery, the MD-11, Japan Airlines. It's just every time I see a picture of it, I'm like, they had a model of it. They had a model of it in Japan at the airport. I keep talking. I'm so sorry. It's like
don't worry.
Verbal diarrhea. Blah. They had the model in Japan at the airport in Haneda, and it was so expensive. I'm like, I really want this. Anyway.
No, but it's what I said in my last podcast with John. Like the good old days. Like if you go to Schiphol in Amsterdam right now, you're gonna see A330s, Dreamliners, 777s.
Yeah.
They're great aircraft. They're comfortable aircraft. Yeah. But the 747s are gone. The MD-11s have disappeared 5 years ago. Schiphol is turning into a boring place.
Well, I guess it's still more exciting in Glasgow. Mm-hmm. We get EasyJet and Ryanair, then EasyJet and Ryanair, and the odd BA. Especially now. I think United said they're not coming back, at least for the immediate future. So it's going to be very grim, very boring.
Because they flew this 757, right?
Mm-hmm.
Into Glasgow.
Yes. Again, great.
Yeah, have you flown on one of the transcon flights on a 757?
Oh yeah. I go to the States at least once a year to go and see my sister. She's in Seattle. So we'd always we'd either take the flight out of Edinburgh, Glasgow, or Dublin or Belfast. Yeah, I've done the United 757 out of Edinburgh, Glasgow, Belfast, and Dublin. Depends on what's the cheapest. So I've done it a few times, and yeah, I love it. I love it. People hate it. Think it's uncomfortable and whatnot and noisy, but I yeah, it's a nice old plane, and I love the toilet. The 757 toilets. It's fantastic. It's great.
You actually said in one of your recent videos that as a kid you used to hate old airplanes, but it changed now. What happened?
I'm old. It's just being nostalgic. Like, wish I was like young again, hanging on to all these like things that remind me of my youth. No, I don't know. As a kid, one of my biggest regrets now is that I never flew the L1011, and there was a time when we were flying LTU. Ever heard of them?
No.
They're German a holiday airline that I think got absorbed into Air Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
They flew out of Munich, and they used to fly Munich, Bangkok, and they had at the time the 757 and the L1011, and my dad was going to book us onto the NTL11, and I remember specifically, maybe I was dreaming, again, my memory, but I think I specifically said to him, I don't want to fly that. I want to fly on the 757. And then, so I never got to fly on the L1011. I did fly on the MD11, but not on the L1011, on LTU. So, yeah.
Shame.
I'm just like, oh, I'm just crying. One plane that I also really, really like is the Shorts 360 or 330, either one.
Which one?
The Shorts. The boxy one, the square boxy plane.
I have no idea.
Have no idea. We used to call them the Schuhschachtel. It's like shoebox.
Yeah.
They've got a square frame, and it was just a boxy plane. Thai Airways had them. They flew with them domestically. Looking at them these days, like, oh my god, I'm amazed they actually took off the ground. Bangkok Airways had them as well.
I'll look it up after the podcast, and I'll show it here on in post.
Yeah. I love that plane. It's such a weird, ugly looking thing that it's beautiful because it's so incredibly ugly. Just like me. That was a conversation killer. Right, let's have another drink.
I'm gonna show you another clip actually from this is your Thai Air Asia review which is all about food. So let's go watch a couple seconds of that video. Can you just confirm if you can see the screen?
Yes.
Cool. Let's watch a couple seconds here.
I started to tear the mango into bite-sized portions and then tried to do the same with this sticky rice. The rice really was sticky, but on the solid side. My husband isn't big on fishy taste, and I tried to warn him. It was not for him.
I think this is one of the one of my favorite clips in your trip reports. Absolutely amazing. It's so funny. It's got everything. It's got the sticky rice. It's got the weird faces, and your husband, he gets a little bit of abuse when he's sitting right next to you, isn't he? Like, how does he go through you being a trip reporter and a YouTuber, if you say so, if you will?
Oh, don't call me YouTuber. Please do not call me YouTuber. I'm not a YouTuber. Don't use that to that.
He used to sit through you doing the videos, and you force him into the middle seat as well.
Yeah. It's called love. The thing with what's different between what I do and what other people do is that my videos are usually of me going on holiday. I don't usually take flights for the sake of taking a flight. It's usually me going on holiday with my husband. So I always have to balance that. So not spending too much time filming and doing stuff. I have to like look after my husband as well, keep him happy because we are on holiday. So there's that. But yeah, he always gets abused because he needs to sit in the middle seat because I always get the window seat, obviously. And well, you know, there's a couple of times where he gets the window seat on flights. There are certain flights where I'm like, I'm not going to film. He can have the window seat. Night flights, for example. But he's going to hate me now when I say this. When I sit in the window seat, I look out the window, make use of the window because I've got the window seat. He falls asleep or reads a book. I'm like, what's the point? Why do you want the window seat if you just read a book or sleep? Such a waste of window. That's why he always gets the middle seat. And he's not allowed to talk either because obviously I film and I like taping the PAs.
Yes.
I quite like doing that whole cutting in the PA and all that. It's something that I quite enjoy. But because you never know when the PAs are starting, he's not allowed to talk until after we take off. And I've done the same thing with my best friend Rich. We went on a trip and I was filming it, and it was the first time that I went on a trip with him after I started doing these videos. And all I could hear, he's a talker. I'm not a talker. He's a talker. And all I got in his video is like him talking all the way through. So I was like, oh God, no. So yeah, my husband, he's not allowed to talk. And he's also not allowed to use his bag, which has got Velcro on it. Because there was one video where halfway through the PE, all I could hear was like, because he got something out of his bag, and I was like, oh. And
sit here, sit still, and say nothing.
Exactly, yeah. Middle seat, zip it, just,
He must be loving you.
Oh yeah, totally. Come on, look at this. But yeah, it's routine now. It's routine now. We get on a plane. He just walks. He's always walking in front of me, and then gets his seat, sits down, and just shuts up until he's told he can talk again. I once may have elbowed my mother. So 2 years. The Cambodia video. The what was the airline called again? Cambodia Angkor Air. I was flying. I was with my parents. They wanted to go to Cambodia for a trip, and they're quite old, so I went with them to just to make sure everything was okay and get a free holiday. And we got on the plane, and the PA started. I was filming, and my mom was going to say something to me, and I just pulled her. It was a reflex because it's something that I would do with my husband, and that would remind him to just be quiet. And I'm just so focused on this whole thing that I just went, I just elbowed my mother. So on the next flight, when my dad was, checking in everything, and he was picking his seats, it was like, oh, you want to come and sit here? I was like, no, I'm fine. I'll just take the seat that was assigned, which is like far away from where you are. So I don't have to elbow anyone. But I get so irate when people talk and because all you can hear is people talk in the video. I'm like, I don't want to PA. I don't want to hear about your private conversations. So yeah, I don't know what people are always say. You know how there's people that don't like a time lapses.
Yeah.
Or it's how we say time lapse and fast forwarding it, the footage. I always do the bit from the gate to the runway is always time lapse. And people are always saying, "Oh, I want to see real time, so I can hear the engines, hear the sounds and all that." And I'm just like, no, I can't do that because I'm traveling with my husband and potentially talking about stuff that you don't want to hear. So that's actually the reason why those are time lapses, because those are the times when maybe sometimes my husband wants to say something and we can have a wee chat where I know that the PAs are done. Up until takeoff, we've got about 5 minutes to have a chat, and then
he's allowed to.
Yeah, he's allowed to say something. And that's why that's a time lapse, because there's private conversations going on in there that I don't want to share with people. And to be honest, I don't think people want to hear that yet. What I've got to say, because all I say is rubbish anyway. So,
I mean, I've had the same a couple times where I had a single serving friend next to me. You just start talking, and then your whole takeoff footage is ruined.
Ruined. You ruined the whole video
because you're talking through it.
Mm-hmm. Oh god, there was one video where it's a Lufthansa video where this guy sitting next to me, all the way from Munich up until the point where we were approaching Singapore, did not say a single word to me. And then as we're approaching, just about to land, he strikes up conversation. I'm like,
Shut up.
do not talk to me, I'm rolling. It's just, I don't know. But then, because the way I am, I then talk back because I feel bad for ignoring, so I just talk back. It's like, as the words come out of my mouth, I'm just like, stop talking. But the mouth is still going. It's like, stop talking. But yeah, usually people don't talk to me anyway, because I've got such a resting bitch face that people just stay away from me, which is good, so I can do my videos.
Do people look weird at you when you pull out your camera?
Again, I'm not very observant, and I don't really look at other people. I just do my own thing. Even though one time it was an Austrian flight that I got really annoyed. Well, I guess it's understandable. People don't like, people see a camera and they're like, oh, I want to be filmed. I don't like filming people anyway. I try not to have people in my videos. And this guy behind me, I could just hear him saying like, oh, I hope he's not, I don't want to be in this video. I hope he's not filming me. And he's been quite nasty to his wife, obviously assuming I didn't speak German. So he was going to town, about me to his wife. I'm just thinking, you're not that pretty. I don't want you in my video anyway. But yeah, no. Other than that, it's like I use the camera that I use is I put all my stuff here just so I can show you. I use this camera here, so it fits nicely in my hand. So it's not really that noticeable. So I always hold it quite in a way that it's not very doesn't stick out too much. And I don't tend to do people anyway. Hey, you see a lot of, when I board the plane, you see a lot of shoes and legs because I'm very mindful of other people's privacies.
That's good. That's very good. Another thing that is a big topic in your video is food. I obviously understand why I love food, obviously. But what is it that you love so much about plain food? Because obviously your taste buds aren't as good as they are on the floor. So it's a lot of salt. But for some reason, you love your food. And that's why I do want to show a quick clip from your... no, actually, that was part of the clip that we were talking about just now. The burger, the Thai Air Asia red burger, inspired burger. Like, those things. What is it about plain food?
I don't know. It's just the fact that you're sitting in this metal tube, way, way, way up there, and there's someone walking around with a tray of food that's hot, well, mostly hot, and serving you food. Just the whole concept of that I think is fascinating. All the stuff that happens in the background, like catering, how food is plain food is made, how it gets from the kitchen to the plane, how it's being plated. There's so much thought there's so much more to it than just food on a tray. I find it fascinating. And food itself is, I don't know, it's just I remember going back to when I was a kid. I used to fly a lot when I was a kid. I was always looking forward to the food, and it always fascinated me even as a kid. And I was sure to finish everything every single time on planes. And people, family would make fun of me for eating I would finish anything that was served on a plane. I would finish it. I would just eat it all up. And it's just, I don't know. It's just, I get like butterflies just thinking about it. Don't tell my husband that, but just plain food just makes me feel like, and it's in business class. It's the way. See, I'm getting all like flustered now because I'm like, I'm excited about just thinking about it. The way the food's presented in business class, how it's served, it's like a performance when it's done well. The first time I got my own business class ticket was a flight Lufthansa from Frankfurt to New York, and I had a seat in the back, and I was watching the flight attendants serving. It was an A380.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of flight attendants, serving the meals, and I thought, this is like a performance. It's all like orchestrated. Every single move is orchestrated, and you could see them coming down. And that flight the crew in that flight was amazing. It was so in sync. You can see in both aisles just working their way down, and all I could think was, this is like a fantastic performance. The way they do these things is amazing. That's amazing. And I know people hate on Lufthansa so much and the business class, but I thought it was fantastic. I loved it, and that's the whole thing. It's the taste of the food, the fact that the taste buds aren't as working as well up there. Getting all those flavors in the food, keeping it interesting, the texture. There's just so much. There's so much to it. It's not just just a meal, and I don't know. I'm just talking gibberish now. I'm just like, I just want to plain food.
I wouldn't call it gibberish. I would call it passion.
But no, it's just so much more to it. My cousin in Thailand, he's a flight attendant for Thai Airways.
Mm-hmm.
Has been now for God knows, 30 years maybe. When he first started, he said, I was going to only do it for 10 years, and now it's been about 30 years. And when I was 12, I think, I accompanied him on a trip to Japan, to Osaka, and I spent the whole trip in the galley with the crew, helping out, and it was fantastic. I had such a good time. It's like pouring drinks in the galley and like helping out with the the hot towels and all that stuff. And it was so much fun just watching everything that you do. That was time before YouTube, where now you go on YouTube and you can watch these videos. So back then, I was 12 years old, sitting in the galley on this like 777, and seeing them, do the magic in the galley, and it's fantastic. There's actually quite a few flight attendants in my family. My godmother and my godfather both were flight attendants. Mm-hmm. My godmother worked for Swissair from 1957 to 1975. And I just saw her not too long ago, and she was telling me about the stories of her days flying to Japan, where they would start in Zurich. Zurich would go to Geneva, Athens. Then from Athens, they would go to Karachi, where they would have a crew changeover in Karachi. And I said to her, what did you do in Karachi back then? She said, oh, that would just be this guy. He had a yacht, and he would come and pick up, and we would just go sailing. Like, okay.
Those were the days.
Those were the days, like, oh my God. And then they would pick up the next plane and then go Karachi to Bangkok to Hong Kong, and Hong Kong to Tokyo. And then put the thing back.
That sounds like a normal day for a trip reporter.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh, those were the days. I wish I was alive back then.
Have you never aspired to be like work in the air?
Oh God, yes, yeah. When I was younger, but as parents are, like, you go to university and you do this and you do that, and I did. So yeah, no, I guess one of the regrets that I have, that I didn't do that. Obviously, these days it's different now with the pay and all that. But back then, my godfather, he worked for Lufthansa, Lauda Air. Mm-hmm. He was, I think he was the first group of Lauda Air flight attendants.
Original
so
Lauda.
He was there. Yeah, original. Lauda Air was big back in the days. They, flying out of Vienna, Austria, like they flew to all these places around the world. And Bangkok was one of the main destinations. And he said that back then they would have, I think, 4 days in Bangkok. 4 days, yeah. Imagine, fly to Bangkok, stay there for 4 days. That's you working and fly back. Obviously, now you go there, you stay there at night, and you come back. But back then, it was like 3-4 days. Not bad.
But it would also take you 2 days to get there in general, I think.
Yeah, but they didn't. That's like they're there for 4 days.
Yeah.
That's a layover. So it's like a week. Yeah, basically
That's
a week
incredible.
return. Yeah.
Let's go back to your trip reports, though, because only just recently, we're talking months, in your 6 years in YouTube, and then 3-4 years that you've been doing. Yeah, it's almost 6 years. And then 3 years you've been doing trip reports. It's only recently that you started doing voiceovers. So let's go watch the first couple seconds of your trip report where you did a voiceover. This is your LATAM flight to Frankfurt, which you did with Dan. Can you see the screen?
No.
Or do you see a black screen?
Yes, yes. Oh, no. That's us again.
Let's try it again. You see YouTube? Or
Yeah.
black screen? Perfect. So Cool. Let's go watch a quick couple seconds of this video here from your December. It's not a long time ago that you posted this video.
Hello my little winglets, and welcome to another SOPLANE trip report. I'm Nick, and I'm the round face behind SOPLANE. Earlier this year I went on a trip with two fellow AV geeks where we flew with Ethiopian Airlines and LATAM on the European Fifth Freedom flights. The great thing about these flights is that you get to fly wide bodies on short-haul routes. And today's trip report is from the LATAM flight, where we took the 787 from Madrid to Frankfurt in economy class. So join us on this 2-hour flight with complimentary food and drink, in-flight entertainment, and fabulous views, all for £25 and 70 pence one way. I know you have a choice in Trip Reporters, and I appreciate your views. Welcome aboard, and let's do this.
This wasn't your first time appearing on camera, but it was your first time doing a voiceover. How was the reception from your audience?
People liked it, and they said, "Great, I don't have to read anymore." That's what I got from someone. The reception was good. The views have gone down. I think because now YouTube understands what I say in the videos, and they realize that it's all rubbish, so they're not showing it to anyone. But the people that do watch it actually watch it longer. The retention rate has gone up by quite a bit, so people actually watch longer, which is weird. Why would you listen to me talk? Especially when I don't enunciate properly. That's my big downfall, and it takes a lot of takes to get me to talk properly in these videos. And yes, my father, when I was 15, actually had his ears checked because he couldn't understand me. And now I realize why. Now that I hear myself, hear myself in his videos, I understand how he cannot understand me, because, Jesus, half the time I'm like, what?
How is it getting used to your own voice, though?
Don't even get me started on that. But funny enough, I don't know. With your you do a script as well, don't you?
Yes.
You've got a script that you read.
Yeah.
Do you look at the text that can't talk anymore. YouTube, that's an auto text, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it automatically generates the subtitles.
Yeah.
There we go. Subtitles. The stuff that it thinks that I say, oh my God, it's just like the weirdest shit that they come up with. I'm like, that in itself is actually worth a video. It's just like my enunciation is so bad that the stuff that YouTube picks up or things that I say is like crazy stuff. So yeah, actually it takes a lot of work each video, because everything I say needs to be recorded about 2 or 3 times, because I cannot understand myself when I say stuff. It's a lot of effort.
What are the steps you go through editing a video?
It's like redo until it's perfect. I see, like, sometimes, I'm sort of a perfectionist, and I start with, because I don't have a plan. As I said, I don't have a plan when I do this. I just film stuff. So I start out with getting all the clips into the editing software, and then cut them down into like 2-second clips. Mm-hmm. That's what I do. 2 to 4 seconds. So my videos are actually, as I said, I like them to be fast-paced. So I cut them all in 2 to 4 second clips. Do that. Then I do the voiceover. Then I check that the clips and the voiceover sort of work. Then I do the copy, the text that's on screen. And then the last thing that I do is the music. which is funny because a fly around, he said that he starts with the music, and Blake has the music in his mind as well, right?
Blake already has the music. Like when I met Blake in Toronto last year, he already knew that the music that he was going to be using. So he would play the music in his head, and while he was recording, he knew already exactly. That's crazy to me. Like I can't even imagine that yet. But
yeah, I don't have the bandwidth. I can't do that. No.
So, but he also doesn't drink on flights, so that's probably why he can do that. He drinks apple juice. But no, he already knew exactly what music he was going to take. For me, picking the music from Epidemic is like a quarter of the time that I spent on editing my videos.
I spend days and days going through songs. I just go. And the thing is, there's not that. I'm very specific in the type of music that I use. I like synth music. I've been told now that the music I like is vaporwave. I've just come across that, and I'm obsessed now with difficult V's and W's. Vaporwave music. There's loads on Spotify. Love it. Wish I could use that music in my videos. So it's there's not that many of that on Epidemic. So I now recycle the songs, which to me is like, I can't use this again. But then people watching the videos don't realize it's the same music, over and over again. But that's the last thing I do, which is weird because for me, music is actually such a big part of my videos. But I do that last. It's funny, isn't it? People either love or hate music when it comes to these videos.
I can't even imagine not liking the music, but type of music it's can. But
no, it's one of the main comments that I get on videos is people saying, "I don't like the music. Music is rubbish. Crap music. Get into the music."
Yet though, I don't know if I knew your channel yet back then, or I remember Blake last year tweeting out like your channel saying like most funky trip reports out there with a good choice of music. Like he really likes the music. I like your choice of music, so I think it's fairly similar. But I hadn't expected you to do the music in the end.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's just the way it's happened. So it's always the last thing I do. It's always the last thing I do. But then it takes such a long time. Yeah, it takes such a long time to do. I guess it's because I don't have a plan. So the footage that I've got is quite, it's just a bunch of footage without much thought behind it. So I need to sort that out first before I can actually do the music. And as I said, I don't have the bandwidth to think about the type of music when I actually do the filming. That's like, my head does look big, but actually it's not that big. That's not, doesn't fit in there. Plus, I've got my husband to look after when I travel. So there's only so much I can do at one point, and I drink as well. So obviously, should do less of that because that really does impact everything that I do on these videos. There's when I went to Japan, was it 3 years ago? We did the thing where we took 5 or 6 flights to get to Japan. We went Glasgow, Paris, Zurich, Hong Kong, Seoul, Osaka to Sapporo. How many flights was that? 5 or 6, whatever. And by the time we did it in business class, I just used up all my miles and whatnot. And by the time we got to Seoul, that was with another 2 flights to go. I was like, I'm so hungover.
Already?
I can't do this. I'm absolutely knackered. I've been drinking, obviously business class between the lounges and on the plane all the way there. And it was such a struggle to do the video on the Asiana flight from Seoul to Osaka, because I was just by that point we had Paris, Zurich, Hong Kong. So we already been on 4 flights by that point.
God.
How many hours? I don't remember.
Back to back.
Yeah, back to back. Well, actually, we went from Glasgow to Paris, stayed the night in Paris, and then got the flight from there. But then all the rest, literally back to back. And I was struggling so much. I was like, no, I have to do this video. And then the food came. I was like, got to eat this. And that was rough. And that trip actually resulted in my husband imposing restrictions on future travel in terms of how many flights we can do in one go, which is 3.
Which is fair. That's generous still.
The maximum I'm allowed to do to get to somewhere is 3 flights in a row, which is quite restrictive when you want to do something fun. But I felt really bad because by the time we got to Sapporo for the start of a 2-week holiday, we'd been traveling already for about 48 hours or longer, literally just airports and planes. And
again, normal life for a trip reporter.
Yeah. Well, it's fine if it's just on your own. It's fine. You just deal with it. But got my husband who's like, divorce. We got to Chitose Airport, the Sapporo Airport, which is quite far out of the city, and you have to take the train to get into Sapporo. And we got on the train, and it was packed. So we had to stand holding our luggage just by the door, and I could see him standing and falling asleep, It's like doing this. I'm like, he's not happy. I was like, oh no, this is it. But no, he was fine, and luckily, and I'm still married, so that's a good sign, I guess. But yeah, 3 flights, that's it.
Is there a limit to the length of the flight?
No.
I see a loophole there. Anyway, we're almost an hour and a half in already. I want to move on to questions from viewers, because with every episode, I ask you on Twitter and Instagram to ask my next guest questions. And like with always, you've sent some. And like with every episode, I do also announce the guest on my Instagram and Twitter. So do make sure you follow me there if you don't do that already. Also, make sure to follow Nick on his social media, because it really is a lot of fun. He tweets about way more than just aviation. Anyway, Nick, I did get a couple questions, but I think it weren't too many, but I think that's probably because you just did your Q&A recently. So most of the questions that I had in mind, really actually, it made me a lot harder to prepare for this podcast today, just because you had already done a Q&A, so many things were already discussed. But I want to actually start with a question that came in from iTrip Report, of course, a fellow trip reporter, who's asking you, why the name SOPLANE?
Because my life is so plain, boring. So plain. Word play on that. That's basically it.
Okay. And then actually an extended question for me then is where you recently changed it, but where does Aikensoul come from?
Oh, that used to be my handle for everything, for Twitter and for Instagram and whatnot. And that's just an anagram of my name, which is Nikolaus. Clever.
Very clever. I had not expected that. I also wouldn't have expected you to have the name Nikolaus.
Yeah, that's I just seen the white beard. There's white coming already, so in a couple of years there'll be proper white, but I literally just took my name and went onto Google and looked for an anagram generator and just punched in my name, and Arkansas came out.
Mystery solved.
But yeah, no. SOPLANE was just I just thought, oh, plain, so plain, boring, my life, plain, wordplay, so plain. There we go. It's so plain, my so plain life.
Actually, I made a mistake because I went onto, I think, Instagram or Twitter, and I just typed in twitter.com/SOPLANE, but yours fly SOPLANE, and then if you just put SOPLANE, you get some guy without a shirt.
Yeah, that's not me. I can't do that. Not yet. Not yet. Especially like after 4 months in quarantine, I can't do that. No, I wish. But yeah, I know somebody's got that already. I was quite gutted. But yeah, that's why I fly SOPLANE.
Interesting. Toronto Pearson Air Spotter on Instagram is asking you what the longest flight you've been on is.
Oh, longest flight. The longest flight I've been on was an interesting one. That was an Emirates going from Dubai to Bangkok. And it was long because we had a sick pilot, a baby on board, and an operational diversion. All in one. That was a 24-hour flight trip on that plane. We pushed back in Dubai on time, and then halfway to the runway, the pilot came on and said, "I'm really sorry. I don't feel very well. I don't think it's safe for me to fly you to Bangkok today. So we're going to go back." So we went back to the gate. Everybody deboarded, and they got a whole new plane and a new crew. Then we took off after about 3 hours. Mm-hmm. And then 2 hours into the flight or so over India, I could see the flight map with the dotted line doing a U-turn. I was like, what's going on? And the flight was doing a U-turn. There's no announcements, no nothing. All you could see were the flight attendants running forwards and backwards frantically between the galleys and moving trolleys, and no announcement, nothing. I was like, what is going on? And then we were well into descent already into Hyderabad, where the pilot came on and said it's an emergency and they have to we have to land in Hyderabad. So it turns out a woman had a baby on board. She actually gave birth in the galley behind me.
Whoa!
And it was the flight attendant working my section that delivered the baby. So we landed in Hyderabad. Baby was there. They got the mother and the baby off the plane, and then we took off again. And the flight attendants, I mean, that's the level of professionality you've got with Emirates. That flight attendant, she just continued with the service as if nothing had happened. She was just serving food, and I was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, you just delivered a baby. Are you okay? She's like, "It hasn't sunk in yet." Just like serving with a more drink.
That's incredible.
So, that's fantastic. She was amazing. She was absolutely amazing. That flight was the flight was going originally Dubai, Bangkok, Jakarta, and I jinxed it, and I said to the guy next to me who was going to Jakarta, said to him, "You're not going to Jakarta today because this flight will go to Bangkok and the crew will time out in Bangkok and you will be stuck in Bangkok." 10 minutes later, I look at the flight map and a dotted line was going to Jakarta. So they just cancelled the Bangkok. They took off from Hyderabad and went straight to Jakarta and just cancelled the Bangkok leg. And then I got to go to Jakarta, landed in Jakarta, the Bangkok passengers stayed on the plane. Crew left, the new crew came on, and we were then just operating the regular return flight, Jakarta to Bangkok. And that whole ordeal was about 24 hours.
Jakarta to Bangkok. That's still like 3 or 4 hours, isn't it?
Yeah. So we went Dubai, Hyderabad, Jakarta, and Jakarta to Bangkok. And then obviously there was like downtime in both Hyderabad and Jakarta. So I was sitting on that plane for 24 hours.
Economy?
Yeah, but I'm little. I've got short legs. I'm totally fine. That's the perk of having short legs. And Emirates, again, fantastic. TV screen programs. I wouldn't have wanted to do that on a Norwegian 757, but Emirates was fine. And kudos to them. Like, this was an emergency. It was like emergency landing basically in Hyderabad. And as we were on the ground, they catered some drinks. They got like juice boxes and little snacks and then that was years ago. But that was my longest flight. So yeah,
money well spent though.
Oh yeah, I people around me were like, rah, rah, rah. I was like, I enjoyed this. It was good fun.
Next question is actually one you. First of all, you already answered this one in your Q&A. I did want to ask it here too because it was actually just asked to us on Twitter.
I know. Was it Merv?
Yeah, Merv. How do winglet? Can you explain again how winglets work?
Oh,
you
God.
did so well in your Q&A.
Oh God! Thanks, Merv. God, I did think about that earlier. So there's wings, and then I've got the way the wings are. The shape of it creates a low pressure air underneath the wing and high pressure air underneath the wing, low pressure air above the wing, and the high pressure air wants to go into the low pressure area, and when the air moves around the wingtips, the wing, they create these vortices because it gets sucked into the low pressure, and it creates the vortices, and they move like this, and that movement pushes down the wing. That's drag, which is why you've got winglets, and they make the air move up like this away and create little vortices up here that push to the side, but they're a lot smaller than if they were like this, and that's why the winglets work. Something like that.
As far as I know, that's pretty much correct.
Yeah, physics and chemistry was not my thing at school. Not at all. I had to look that up. I had to read up on that and watch YouTube videos on that for my video. Because I've got no idea. I just wanted food.
Talking about food, actually, Murph also mentioned something about beef and peanuts. What is the story behind that?
He flew. No, it wasn't. It's not it's his story. He flew. What's it called? Blue Air, Romanian Blue Air, and they've got beef and peanuts, and apparently it's quite good, and he likes it. And we've got a deal where when we fly again, we're gonna have beef and peanuts on a plane. That's the story. That's it.
Okay, because he literally said, if beef and peanuts is not mentioned, I'm not listening.
Exactly. Yeah, that's we mentioned beef and peanuts now. That's in the video, so you better watch it, Murph.
Exactly. And then last question comes actually from Mr. Blake E from Birmingham. He said he sent me a WhatsApp before saying, question for Nick. Like you, I'm a lover of pizza. But can you tell me what possessed you to add banana to a pizza recently? You may be banned from Italy for it.
It's not just banana. It's the perfect combination is banana and gorgonzola. That is a pizza. It's sweet and it's salty and creamy. And the thing is, when I was a kid, I thought Hawaiian pizza for me, Hawaiian pizza as a kid was pizza with banana. That was a Hawaiian pizza. That's how I grew up. I don't know why and where that came from, but I thought that was Hawaiian
What?
pizza. And it wasn't until I came to university in the UK where I realized that actually pineapple is a Hawaiian pizza. That's it. And it's not. It's like, banana and cheese is a classic combination. Cheddar and banana is a classic combination. Of course,
where?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I've got this image in my head where people walk around with like a silver plate with like cocktail sticks with a cube of cheese and a banana on it. Was that a dream of mine or something? I don't know.
I have no idea. I've never heard of it.
Reality dreams, I don't know. But look it up. And also you get sandwiches. You get banana cheese sandwiches in a toasty machine. And I bet if you look at these toasty machines, right?
Mm-hmm. I think they call them a grill out here. Just a grill. Panini grill.
I bet if you find like a recipe book that comes with these machines from like the 80s, it will have a banana and cheese thing in it. I think that's something like 80s. I don't know.
You know what, Nick? When I'm in Europe, Blake, you and I should come together and we'll make a banana pizza.
With gorgonzola. That I added to it last time because I thought, how can I elevate a banana pizza, which is quite sweet, and the gorgonzola just adds some sharpness and some creaminess to it.
Yeah. So Blake, listen, you're invited. Nick and I are gonna try this because I gotta try this for myself.
Yeah, get a frozen pizza, a dirt cheap frozen pizza, and just cut up banana, put it on. It's nice. It's Asian food, sweet and salty. Sorry, that's the Asian food, sweet and salty. Everything's sweet and salty, and banana pizza, sweet and salty, perfect, okay. And creamy.
Well, hopefully, I should be in the UK in September if everything goes through. So, see if we can arrange something. Anyway, then now it's time for the last part of the podcast that obviously you've been looking at for. As with every podcast, we test the knowledge on planes for a guest. Last week, 2 weeks ago now, John did actually pretty well, and he got 12 images correct. So a bit embarrassed about Noel Phillips. Sorry, Noel, I still feel bad about it. Do please come back if you see this, because I want to do it better. Have you seen that with Noel?
No, I didn't. No.
They were a little bit too difficult, and he only got 5. But John got 12 last week. So the current leaderboard looks like this. Alex Sperklowski is still leading with 16. Billy from Gilbert Travel, all the way from the first episode of the podcast, has still 13. Jeb Brooks is sharing a third place with John from Trinity Traveling with 12. Blake, he still got 8. And then on the bottom, still feel bad about it. No, with 5. How confident do you feel, Nick?
I'm not confident at all. I'm going to be terrible at this.
You reckon?
Especially if there's military planes. I do not know military planes at all.
No, there's no military planes in there. Just like with Alex, the photos this week are from Daniel Sender, great photographer, also a friend from Nick's. When I announced the podcast, Daniel immediately sent me a message asking me to supply the photos. He unfortunately was too busy, but to pick the photos for you. So I was able to get him off his Instagram. So we have a good bunch of photos for you today, Nick. So I will share the screen. Just make sure that you can see it. That is... There you go. Can you see the screen?
No.
You can't.
It's the black. No.
That's good because it already showed the first photo. Let me try sharing again.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you see the logo this time?
Yeah, I can.
Perfect. So let me get my phone for a timer. I'll also put a 1 minute timer on the screen. At
pressure.
home, if you want to play along, get some pen and paper before we start. So you can pause the video, get a pen and paper, and see how many you will have correct as well. And let me know in the comments down below how well you did. Nick, so if you're ready, then I'm gonna start the timer. And I got some pen and paper here to write down how many you have. And then let me know when we can start.
Okay, I'm ready.
You're ready. Okay. In 3, 2, 1.
737.
Yes.
Okay, ATR 72.
Yes.
787.
Yes.
350.
Yes.
A300.
Yes.
777.
Yes.
320.
Yes.
747.
Yes.
Foreign fighter, yeah. 330.
Yes.
380.
Yes.
767.
Yes.
Dash 8.
Yay.
330. Neo.
Yes.
It says there. It's 7.
Yeah.
Antonov.
Time.
Something, yeah.
You done really well. Really well. You got 14.
Yay!
Congratulations. And that puts you in second place just after Alex Fraglowski. And you put Billy, who's been in second place pretty much since Alex, and back to third place. Well done, Nick. That's fantastic. Such well done. Did you expect it to be doing so well? It's a cocktails. Not at all. I'm pleasantly surprised. Well done.
Oh, thank you. Cheers.
I'm out of beer.
That was fun.
Yeah. Anyway, with that we've got to the end of the podcast. How did you like being on?
Thanks for letting me talk and having verbal diarrhea and just splurting everything all out over you. Thanks for having me. It was good fun.
Absolutely. I was definitely having a lot of fun with you. Much more than I expected to have a lot of fun with you. Anyway, who would you like to see in a future podcast? Who would you like to nominate?
I think Sandspot has been mentioned a couple of times. I think that would be really good fun. Seeing him, seeing what he's got to say. Yeah, definitely Sandspotter.
Nice. And of course, Daniel has said to come on the podcast sometime soon as well.
Oh, yeah, Dan as well, obviously. I hope I didn't offend Dan, but not saying Dan, but yeah, totally. We should do a tag team, maybe.
Ooh.
Okay, sorry, I'm just, putting stuff out there. I think I'm feeling that cocktail now. It's getting to the point now where it's worked its way through.
It's also supper time, so.
It's 7 here already.
Yes.
It's still quite light here. It gets light really, really late here, so we see.
Mm-hmm. Well, Nick, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I've been really looking out for this day for a long time, so I'm glad that we did it, and I'm sure that people will have loved watching us just chit-chat for about nothing.
About nothing, yeah, absolutely nothing. This was like about nothing. Nothing. So plain, such a plain. So plain.
Cool. Thank you so
Hope didn't bore you too much.
It was only like an hour 45 minutes, so.
God. And it's just now that I realize I've got these massive bags under my eyes. So I better go and do something about this.
Well, thank you so much, Nick. And thank you so much for watching for the past hour and 45 minutes. It's been a very long podcast this time, the longest we've had so far. But it was just a lot of fun talking to Nick. So thank you so much for watching. And hopefully I'll see you again next week back on the channel. So thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.